Hello, how are you guys doing? I hope that you guys are having a great Sunday wherever you are located in the world. Um, I want to talk to you about the rash stampedes that they've been having in Nigeria this so-called Christmas season. Um, there have been at least three different stampedes where children have lost their lives at venues and gatherings set up by different NGOs, which is the Nigerian equivalent of nonprofits, um, nonprofit organizations that are giving away toys, clothes, food, and I think in one case they were even giving away some naira, not much, but the people came, and I don't know, maybe they were impatient, maybe they thought that the suppliers were going to run out. Um, Not really sure what was going on through the minds of the grown-ups that were in charge of the children, bringing the children to these events so that the children can enjoy so-called Christmas. And several children ended up losing their lives by being crushed to death by impatient, greedy parents. Now, here on the continent, the main argument had for, if you will, the stampedes taking place has been because of the food insecurity, the hunger that is a reality here in Nigeria. Um, but my thing is this: there has been an argument to explain or justify why Christmas times, Christmas season stampedes that's taking place in Nigeria have been taking place at several Christmas giveaway events. And the main argument for or explaining why this is happening has been because of hunger, the food insecurity that is a real thing, real big problem here in Nigeria. You know, at the risk of sounding like I am comparing poverty levels between Nigeria and America, I ask that, as I do, as I will, that you not say the poverty in Nigeria is greater than the poverty in America. There's no real poverty, which, in essence, want to look at housing cost, cost of living, cost, food costs, transportation, what have you. It is cheaper to live and take care of oneself in Nigeria than it is in America. But when you look at the cost of living and everything in America, there is such a thing as poverty in America because there are millions of people in America that are not making enough money to cover their housing costs, food costs, transportation. It's just not enough. They're not getting enough. And as a result of the poverty in America, which I believe is totally engineered, systematic, by design, um, there are now several programs, social welfare programs, civil services programs that have been set up for decades to help the poor. There are also several pantries, church programs, um, several different independent organizations, nonprofit organizations um, that have been created and that are set in place to help the poor in America. Don't know how long they're going to be in place, but they are, as far as I know, still in place and operational today. I can only reflect on my experiences as I struggled as a raising three children in poverty, America, no help, and constantly being told that I made too much money to get help, but I was not getting enough money to actually take care of the needs. It was a weird place to be. But anyway, I found myself, I was celebrating Christmas many, 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 many years ago when my two oldest children were small, like toddlers, and maybe preschools even. Um, I would find myself in food pantry lines, even outside of the Christmas season. I mean, poverty and hunger, need is a year-round thing. So, um, several times I will find myself in these long lines with crowds of people, trying to get help, food, whether it was help for paying my electricity bill, water bill, what have you, just living. And a lot of times I had to go and seek out help. And I was in line, the crowd, people were also in need of help. Some of them were homeless. And sometimes I was technically homeless with children. And I had to go and seek help. Food, toiletries, help with rent, help with light bills, you know. So I've been in that circle, in that demographic of people in poverty in America and in need, trying to seek help. And I can't recall there ever being a stampede. There wasn't ever a stampede. As a matter of fact, it wasn't always policed. It was just, even though people were in line and they were in need, some of them may have even been hungry as they were waiting for help. But at no time was it acceptable that people start to treat one another like animals, and people start harming one another just because they were poor, or just because they were hungry, just because they were afraid that the help that was being given out was going to run out. So they started stampeding and pushing one another and treating one another bad. I've never had that experience. Um, and I can't say it's because there's no poverty in America. There is a poverty in America. It's real. I guess what I'm trying to say is, no matter how poor you are, this is what just across all over the globe. Although the poor person is not your enemy, you do not have to compete with them, you do not have to push and shove, you do not have to trample them to death to get anything. Because there's going to be plenty enough to get them. But you just have to wait your turn. It's called patience. No matter who I was around, whether it was all me, all looked like me, or whether I was the only black person, there was a whole bunch of other nationalities and races looking for help, and I've been in all of that before. We always treated one another as a human being. We didn't start treating one another equal. We competed with one another and stampeding one another, and we definitely looked out for one another's kids. Because we all understood we were all in the same boat and we needed to support one another and look out for one another. Because poverty is an equal opportunity employer. It can hit anybody. So I guess I just don't understand there ever being so much need to the point where you start treating your fellow man, your fellow brother, your fellow sister, and children like animals, less than animals. And I'm concluding that there's no excuse for that. There is something demonic about that. And I do believe it stems from this time of year. There is something that is released in the atmosphere, that makes people greedy. It makes people desperate, and they will do anything to get their hands on something, on anything. Hmm? People are hungry all year long. I've never heard of a stampede in Nigeria. It's Christmas time and everybody's on their run. There ain't that much hunger in the world that would excuse and justify people treating one another like animals. It's nothing to their children. There's no excuse for that. And I'm convinced that it is a spirit that's released in the air that make people just really, really loopy and crazy this time of year. And I didn't think it was so intense and comprehensive and thick here. But I haven't felt it. Even though I've seen the results and the manifestations of it in terms of the Stampedes, um, and a couple of other incidents that weren't so intense and violent that I've noticed. But by and large, the Christmas spirit is not that strong here. But for the people that have been hypnotized and pre-programmed to believe in Christmas and celebrate Christmas and long to want to be a part of the Christmas spirit, even if it means they got to stump their children to do it, that spirit is forcing them to do some evil, wicked things. And it makes me really sad. Because now I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't even blame the government if they were to ban giveaways. It's going to make it hard for people who want to do missions here to do missions. Now they're going to have to, people who are missionaries, who come here on missions, they're going to have to ramp up security. They're going to have to pay much more money for security to make sure that the places that they're giving, they're doing these giveaways are much more safe and secure. Because they're not going to want this stuff happening. And I can't say that I will blame them. Because people are starting to act like they don't have no cotton making sense. And I don't believe, I'm not convinced it is just because of hunger. Hunger exists all year long, not just in December. It is a spirit from the pit of Hades that has been released, and that is released this time of year, that get people not thinking straight, being greedier than usual, being more covetous than usual. What are the spirit? Or could be responsible for trampling to death babies, children, behind some gifts, some food, and a couple of thousand naira, the equivalent of maybe $1. That is demonic. Y'all wonder why I don't celebrate Christmas. Look what it's making y'all do. Well, you guys maybe do behave. Don't wish me a Merry Christmas. Don't wish me a Merry Christmas. That thing is demonic as heck. Cut your act.